Hi guys, welcome to my first ever YouTube tutorial. So today I'm going to be teaching you how I do my zooms. So this is my first ever tutorial, so if it's kind of wonky, please don't take offense because, well, I'm kind of wonky myself, but don't worry, the editing of the tutorial will improve as time goes on. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Want this? Alright, so you want to go ahead and import your clip and make sure it is time remapped already. I'll probably make a tutorial on how to time remap later in the future. So I'm going to apply 3 knots to each clip, so they look, because 3 knots is required for the movement we're about to create. And that's how I do mine anyways. I'm very sure there are other methods to doing it, but this is just how I do mine and it works. So if you have another method, I'll be willing to hear from you. So now I'm currently parenting all the knolls to the layer. Like I'm parenting them together, parent the clip to the knoll, then you keep parenting on and on. So now we are now getting into the good part. So I'm going to be using position and scale. So I'm going to keyframe the position and scale and then increase on the first keyframe. I'm going to increase it to about 500 because 500 just looks really nice when I use it. And again, you don't have to use this exact same value, just to give you an idea of how to do it. Do you understand? And this is the graph I'm going to be using. You can go ahead and take a screenshot and, copy that. So that's the exact graph I'm going to be using. So we've done the first movement. So for the second now, what I use it for is kind of to create like kind of a rebounce. When it zooms out, it then zooms in again before it zooms out again. So it kind of gives like a rebounce. And make sure to center your character as much as possible in that second layer when you're zooming in. Also, I like to use the value 130 for that second now. So that's what looks really nice whenever I use it. I've always been using 130. So also apply motion tile to your clip so that you don't have you don't have black edges. So it's gonna look really nice. It's going to fill up those spaces. So for the third this is the zoom out. So it zooms in and then it zooms out. So this is the zoom out. So I like to use the value 34 for the last keyframe. It just looks really nice to me. And make sure your keyframe is on the last frame. Always make sure it's on the last frame or else it's not going to look nice. So then we're going to use the opposite graph of what we used before so that, it gives the same vibe and it just overall looks nice. Moving on. So now we're going to repeat the exact process for the second clip, but I'm just going to, still narrate the entire process for people who didn't get it the first time, just to refresh the memory. So I'm going to be doing the exact same thing, using the exact same values of 500 and keyframing the position as well and using the same graph as we used in the first one, so it looks nice, Also, center your character. Also, I'm zooming into her face so that it would sync with our transition, And, it's going to look very cheeky. It's going to look nice. And, you don't want an edit that doesn't look nice. So, moving on. So, we're going to do the exact same process again for the second one. We're going to use the value 130. And I'm not going to add any graphs to the second graph. I don't add any graphs to it at all. I just easy ease by pressing F9 and boom, it's all good. There, moving on to the next layer, we're going to be using the exact same values, which is going to be 134 because 34 just looks nice to me. Once again, you don't have to use 34. You can use your values. It's just what I use. And if you want to use mine, it's cool. Wait a minute. So, moving on. So now you can see it looks cheeky, it looks nice, but we can make it look nicer with some razzle dazzle. So we're going to add 2 adjustment layers each to each clip because those are the amount of adjustment layers you need for this. So we're going to be adding a couple of effects. I'm going to be adding the optic compensation because it just looks nice. It flows well with WAP. So when you just try and use optic compensation. Play around with the settings. So I'm going to check that little box right there. Keyframe, then open the keyframe by pressing U on your keyboard. Drag the keyframe to the back, and then the one at the front, just increase it. I think I used 128. Yes. Then increase the velocity of the right hand, but leave the left hand. Don't touch it. So that just looks nice. And then we're going to be adding warp, as I've mentioned earlier. So we're in warp, I'm going to be using the fisheye. The fisheye, is it model, or what will I call that drop down? The fisheye effect. And we're going to be setting the first keyframe to 0 and the last keyframe to about -100, because then to give that pinch, that pinch effect. So it will sync with the optic compensation that we created before. So, they're like crisscross, understand? Vice versa. So, and again, it looks nice. You can see like some tiles right now. Don't worry, we're going to fix that. It's still going to look nice. So all we need to do now is do this exact same thing for the second part. So I sped up this part so that, we don't get bored, since we're doing the exact same thing. Now, it looks cheeky. It's looking nice. But to make it look nicer, we're going to turn on something called motion blur. It's at the left-hand side. Looking very nice. So thanks for watching my tutorial. We'll see you in the next one.